You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. RC, one of the big storylines this week around LSU taking on Mississippi State is they're having a little shakeup in the secondary. So Jay Ward's going to move down to nickel, and Greg Brooks is going to move to safety. What do you think about it?
You know, I think the first thing is this: Jay Ward can play whatever he wants. So, and then we had that conversation. He obviously had no issue tackling, no issue with the physicality that will come with being the contained or the box defender. And we also have to remember from a cover skills standpoint, this is a guy who came into LSU as a corner in the year that Stingley was recruited. Obviously, nobody else was going to play corner but Stingley. So That was that. I think that I love the move for him. I think it shows his versatility. And I also believe that Greg Brooks, with his skill set, his speed, his willingness to mix it up, will be a good safety as well. I would like to know the reasoning, right? Is it that Jay Ward gets closer to the ball? You feel like as maybe your best secondary defender, this allows him to make more plays. It kind of puts me in the mind of what Jalen Ramsey did as the star defender at Florida State. I think he can have that same type of impact.
Does Greg Brooks? So Ward, you mentioned Ward has played nickel. He's also played safety. Greg Brooks at Arkansas has played safety. Is there any thought that, hey, look, you're playing Mississippi State this week where you've got to be really sound? That's a place where Greg Brooks has played that position against this offense already, so maybe it's just a familiarity thing?
I think so. But, yeah, if you think back, you remember if you remember the year that we thought the guy that quarterback for Mississippi State was going to win the Heisman.
Oh, yeah.
After they played us.
Costello.
Shortly after that, they played Arkansas, and he got dang near benched. And something during that game was Greg Brooks got an interception playing the nickel there. And so I think that Greg has played inside and started inside since he's been in college, and I think the move is very natural for him. It would just be like the particulars of why they think those players switching make them not only better as a unit, but will help them individually. That'd be a conversation, I'd love to have with the secondary coach.
He's on Twitter at RealRClark25. Ryan Clark's with us, talk some Tigers here every Thursday. RC, I do want to talk specifically about this air raid offense and defending it. And it would seem outside looking in like it's so critical for the defensive backs because they throw it a ton. Is that accurate, or is it a bigger game for linebackers to cover or defensive line to pressure? Like where are the pressure points this week on that defense?
I realize like pass defense is an 11-man thing, and obviously secondary players are often pinpointed because they're the last you see in the pass game. When the guy catches the bomb, it's the fact that, the cornerback is chasing and then the safety ends up being right next to the guy when he crosses over the goal line. But where was the pressure? Where was the bump or the shuck at 5 yards? So many things go into it. So I think every level has to play well. Here's the one thing about the air raid. The air raid does not change, right? Like they're going to – it's one of those things, just like the triangle in basketball. The triangle didn't change. Like the pieces changed, right? That Michael Jordan was in the middle of the triangle in Chicago and Kobe Bryant was in the middle of the triangle and Shaq in the middle of the triangle in Los Angeles, but it was the exact same offense. That's what the air raid is. They're going to do the same thing every week, week in and week out, with slight adjustments to the defense they're playing, but you are who you are. Like my grandmother used to say, you get what you get, you don't pitch a fit. And so I think that you need pressure, but you need complete tie-in on the back end. Because if you understand the formations and what you get out of each formation, you can actually use that to your advantage in ways to create plays. And that's why I think the zone is good against it. Like good zone teams play well. you can point to Arkansas and the way they played defense the last few years, because now you're making the quarterback have to figure out the pockets to throw it to instead of being able to see it before the snap, because they're going to do the same thing every time anyway. And so I look forward to seeing how LSU employs their defensive back in stopping the air raid this week.
RC, was Mississippi State impressive in their win at Arizona, like going to Tucson and winning, by double digits?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Not really. I don't. And obviously Arizona this year in their second year with their head coach is better than they were last year. But, this is a team, the last time I saw them in person, they got beat by double digits by their in-state rival.
Mm.
I expect the Mississippi State to beat Arizona, in that way. I think the other piece of it is now we know who the quarterback is. Right. We don't have to discuss that anymore. And so moving forward is, how do you help Five be the best that he can be now that you're getting into some of these SEC games, which for him, it'll be his first atmosphere like that.
RC, answer that question if you would. So how does LSU help Jaden Daniels be the best version of himself in conference play?
You know what's crazy, bro? He's the coolest cat I've ever met.
What you mean?
It's
like
almost,
just like calm?
He's almost like frustratingly calm. You know what I mean? Like you want to see a guy like strain a little bit. You want to see a guy stress them. Like, hey, this is a big game. And I talked about it, in the first call we had headed into week 1. I watched him against Oregon. Justin Herbert's last year. We all know how good Justin Herbert is now. On ABC, game of the week, throw for 300 yards, finish the game with a 75-yard pass to win it to Brandon Ayuk. I've watched him throw interception and smile walking off the field, which is frustrating, right? Because you're like, dude, you just threw an interception.
Right.
But he's actually like just that unbothered. Like, I can't remember what his senior year stats were, but there was something like out of worldly when he was in high school. He has ultimate belief in who he is as a player, and he believes that he's supposed to be here anyway. And so I think that, once this game gets started, you'll see some of the poise and some of the things that will make Jaden a good fit for this LSU team. Like, moving forward, like 4 years from now, maybe Jaden's not the quarterback you have in mind. Maybe you expect LSU to have Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or Quinn Ewers. But right now, I think he's the perfect fit for what they have as a team and what they're trying to accomplish.
That's a great point. RC, before you go week 1 to week 2, now to week 3.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of noticeable progress would you expect to see from LSU against Mississippi State? If there's one thing you'd point to and say, all right, at this point, this needs to be noticeably better than what it's been.
I think protection is the first thing, right? I think back-end coverage would be the second. And the reason I mention those two things, because those two things are chemistry, continuity, and reps, right? You're talking about tying in 5 people to do the right thing, sometimes 6, from the standpoint of offensive line play. And then you look at the secondary, it's the same thing. These are guys who hadn't gotten a ton of reps with one another. And the more reps you get, whether it be in practice or game time, you expect those things to be better. And if they aren't progressing, then your team can't get progressively better. And so I think when you look at the Florida State film and then look at the film from this game, those are the 2 areas you should want to see the most progress gained.
Make sure you check out The Pivot. New episode dropping tomorrow, so Tuesdays, Fridays. Go to YouTube, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, or however you get your podcast. It's The Pivot or The Pivot Podcast. You can type it in, you'll see it pop up. It's incredible work, and we're really fortunate to have RC with us here for about 15 minutes or so every Thursday. RC, you're the best, man. We appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you, man. Remember, man, now that you have a refined palate, make sure you're drinking the right thing.
Hey, man, come out to Oliver Twist one Wednesday. Well, you're probably traveling, but when the season ends, come out and join us one day.
I will, my brother. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.